All right, so I guess since no one is talking about this, I will. If you've been following the big beautiful bill, big billionaire bill, whatever they're calling it, obviously there's a ton of things that are problematic with that, but there's one that's actually very alarming. There is a provision in the bill that they are using basically to take away significant power from the courts. This is not to be confused with a separate piece of legislation that I think other people have talked about. This is right in the big bill that they're doing right now. Here's what it says. No court of the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or waiver or order was issued. So that means that basically no federal court can enforce a contempt citation, which means if you don't follow the court's orders, you cannot be effectively cited for contempt. And I have to hand it to these people. They are definitely using the systems of democracy to seemingly dismantle democracy, but that is a huge amount of power to take away from the courts. If there's no way, if there's no force behind the order, then you can just ignore the order. There's no consequence. But if you take this to its natural conclusion, so you say, okay, well, Congress can then hold him accountable or that sort of thing. Well, the things you need to hold people accountable in our society are things like judges, laws, subpoenas, enforcement mechanisms. Those things are essential. So if you're trying to investigate someone and you order them to provide material for the investigation and they just say no and you have nothing to do, then effectively you have a king. If this passes in this form, this will be just disastrous, not only for the court system, but for our democracy. You need to tell your representatives to vote against this. It's essential. You need to tell them. You need to call them and tell them to vote against it.